Hi, welcome to Python class, and today we'll be looking at lambda function. A lambda function is a small anonymous function. When you have a function and you want to declare an anonymous function inside it, or you just want to write an anonymous function, you can make use of lambda. A lambda can take as many numbers of arguments as possible, but can only be one expression. So you can have any number of arguments, but only one expression will be used to carry out the activities. And when we look at lambda syntax, we have lambda, argument, column, and expression. So when you want to write an anonymous function, you write your lambda, then you put the argument. The argument is the one that you want to use to carry out the expression. Maybe you are passing an argument in the function, so the argument will be passed through this column, and the expression, that is the calculation you want to carry out or what you want the code to do, will be on this side. So let's look at this question on addition of 10 to arguments. Add 10 to argument A and return the result. In this, we want to add 10 to argument A, and we have to return the result making use of lambda. Now, first we need to declare a variable since we are returning the result. So we need to declare a variable that we hold the result we are going to return. So let's say our result is ki equals lambda space. Our argument 10 is to be added to the argument A. So our argument is what? A. So we put A, then we put our quote, our double column space, then we have to add 10 to argument A. So we say A plus 10. So this is how to write an anonymous function, which we call lambda. Then we print our ki. So we say ki, and we have to put an argument because our argument is A. So that argument needs to be a number. So that number is the one that will be added to 10. So let's say our argument is 5. So that means this 5 is the A here, which is the argument. So the A here is the one that will be represented here, which is 5 plus 10, and that will give us 15. That 15 now will be stored in Ki, which this print will finally print out as our output. That is how to make use of lambda function. Then when we say lambda function can take any numbers of arguments, we can put 2, 3, 4 arguments. That is, we can multiply our arguments, we can also divide, we can do whatever we want to do with it. For example, we say x equals to lambda a comma b. This one now is dealing with multiple arguments. Ratio a plus b. In this sense, I'm going to print our x with arguments of 5, 7, and the answer is 12, which means 5 plus 7 will give us 12. That is anonymous function. You can have 3 arguments, you can have 4 arguments, 5 arguments, but remember the numbers of arguments is the numbers of value you need to supply. Then why use lambda function? Why do we use lambda function? The power of lambda is better shown when you use them as an anonymous function inside another function. We mostly use them inside another function. That's why we call them anonymous function. Then say you have a function definition that takes one argument, and that argument will be multiplied with an unknown number. For example, we said we define a function, the func, and that our func as n. Then we return lambda lambda a ratio a plus a times n. Can you see? Now this is an example of anonymous function. Mind you, if we don't call that function, we can't have our lambda executed. So when I press enter, it's only going to be to enter and get stored. So when I go ahead and I call the function like this, I call it like this, I'm going to get error. So and I want to call a function inside that function. So what I'm going to do is I will define another variable called my func equals my equals func 5. So what I'm saying is this one now, this variable, I am putting this variable in, well, I am putting this function inside a variable which is my func. Meanwhile, this function that I'm putting inside that I'm calling to be stored inside a variable has an argument 5 which is going to be sent to n, and this n will be here, but we need this argument a to be provided. How are we going to provide this argument a? Then we have to create another we have to call this by saying print and create another variable. Let's just print it. Print my func. Then we're going to put, remember, when you want to print lambda, you put your print, then your variable which is k1, then you put the value which is 5, the argument which is 5, or whatever you want to put. So the same thing happens here. I have defined a function, then that function, instead of me calling it directly, I only stored it inside a variable which is my func. So now I want to print this my func, which is serving as a response that will be returned from this lambda here. So automatically when I put my func, I have to put the value that will be taken by the a argument, which is, let's say, 7. So with this, I have put the value for a and I have put the value for the n. If I press enter, I'm going to get my answer as 35. That is how to make use of lambda inside a function. You can use that to also triple a function. You can use it to also do whatever you like. Just make sure you call the function properly and you get it done properly. So that is how to do it. Meanwhile, you can also call the function twice by defining two variables of that lambda from of the function, like my function equals function 5, my function 2 equals func 3. So when you call the two with print and you send, you get the same output. So let's quickly try that out. When you want to do the one of double calling it twice, you can say, let's okay, my func 2, my func equals func 10. Now if I call print my func my func 20, I will get 100. That is 10 times 20, right? So that is 100. Then when I print, okay, that is 20 times 5. That is making use of this one, which is 100. And I now say print my font, and I put 2. That will be 2 times 10. Is that clear? Oh, I didn't put. Alright, okay. That will be 20 because it's 2 times 10. This one is 10, which is the n, and this is 2, which is the a. 2 times 10 will give us 20. Thereafter, we go to classes and objects. Let me quit this, clear the screen, and get back into the terminal. Alright, so now we want to work on classes and objects. How do we create classes? What are classes? Python is an object-oriented programming language, as we all know, and almost everything in Python is an object with its properties and method. A class a class is the object constructor or a blueprint for creating object. How do you create a class? To create a class, you make use of class, and it is not capital letter C, it is just small letter. You make use of a class and a column. Mind you put the name of the class so that you can easily know the name. So let's create a class. Say class my class. This is how to create a class. Then we say x equals 5. This is a class already. So my class is the function used to create the object, while my class is the name of that class. X equals 5 is the code function we want to carry out under that class. Then how can we create object of a class? If we now say p, let's say p1 is equals to my class, this p1 is the object of the class. Okay, sorry. P after, remember Python is case sensitive. P1 is equals to my class. So this P1 is the object of the class. So if I want to print what is inside the class now, I will say print P1 dot x. What is the object of the class? X is an object of the class. My class is the class. What is inside class is called object of the class. So if I now create an instantiation of my class, that is when we say it is an object of class, which is this P1. We can say it is an instantiation of class. We can also say it's an object of class. So this P1 is an instantiation of class and also an object of class. So this object is the one we use to get every member of the class. So one member we have here is x equals to 5. So once I press enter, it's going to give me 5 because I ask you to print x dot 5, and we use dot notation to call to generate the network, the connection between the object and the member. So the dot notation is a connector between them, and that's why we use dot, and it's called dot notation. Then we also have what we call init. Init is double hyphen, then double again, you press shift and underscore, and you put this. This is an init function. What is an init? The example above are class and object in their simplest form and are not really useful in real life application. To understand the meaning of classes, we have to understand the built-in init. We have to understand the built-in init function. All classes have a function called init. Every classes you are creating have a function called init. When an init is executed, or sorry, when the class is executed, init is being initiated. You can also use init function to assign value to object properties or other operations that are necessary to do when the object is being created. Now let's quickly look at how to create a class named person, and we use the init function to assign value for name and age. Now we want to create a class called class person. Then we now create an init. We say def, we define it an init. Def init. Then inside this init, you can put self, comma, name, comma, age. That is the argument init. Then you put a quote, you click on your enter key, give it give it an indentation, then you put self dot name equals to name. We want to assign a name to it. So self dot name equals to name, self dot age equals to age. So if we now instantiate this object of person, we say what? P okay, person P1 times the P2 equals person. You can call an object this way too. Can you see? Person, then we put what? John, comma, we put John's age, 36. Which means here we want to assign name and age to this item. We want to assign name and age to this class self. And in that case, we will now say print, we want to print P1, P2 dot name, we say P2 dot name, P2 dot age. Let's see if it's going to print together. Yes, can you see now? It gave us John and 36. That is how to use init to create or assign value to a class. So also the init function is called automatically every time the class is being used to create a new object. So whenever we call this class just to create a new person, this init will be called automatically. This self can be any name. You can put any name there, and the only thing is it does is that either it's there or not, it is always there. If we don't put it, it is there as default. So be aware that the self is used as a reference to its name. So that's another in it. Then we also have the string bgsr. The string function, what do we use it to do? The string function controls what should be returned when the class object is represented in a string. If the string function is not set, the string representation of object is returned. Now, the string representation is used to create a representation that is used to return the object the way we want it to be created or how we created it. But if it is not set, the string representation of the object is returned. So if it's not set, whatever the object created is what is going to return. But if it is set, it will ensure that everything is well formatted. For example, let's create a class string. I mean, the same class we use, class name, and we have def init with age, self.age, name, self.age. Then we have p1 equals to person dollar 23, and okay, let me use p3 because I've defined p1 before, that's why it's giving me that. P3, I will say print p3. See that it's going to give us main main dot person object at un, unknown value is being displayed. So now what we need to do is to make sure that okay, the string in our class person is being created. We now say the next thing we do is we create another definition, def string, def string, and we are going to put self in it, that is its own name. Then we say what? Return. Should return string for us. We are formatting with this for way. String formatting way. We have this, and it says self dot name. Then we have self dot age. Okay. So have something like this. So we have created our string representation. Then we can now say p4 equals to person bul- bulu, comma 13. Okay. Then we can now say print p4. We print p4. We are going to have it's giving me object representation. Okay, what's going on? Print p4 main dot person object at. Okay, let me quickly fix that. All right, let's continue. Okay, now from the error we had the other time, I've finally discovered that I didn't indent. That is why I got that error. So now I'm going to create the class. We have class person after letter for the first letter, double quotes, then presenter. We create our init as our constructor, and we put self name age. We indent, then we say self dot name equals name, self dot age equals age. Then we have def for our string. This is where I made the error the other time. I went ahead to put another tab, which makes this three dots to move out of the shell to the main shell. So we have this and we put self in it. Then we have our indentation and we return formatting string. We have a dictionary for self dot name, and we want the age to be in brackets. So we're going to put the dictionary for the age, self dot age, and that is all. Then we need to instantiate with p1 equals to person. We have John and we have 24. That was kept inside the variable p1. Now when we print p1, we are going to have our write up written in string instead of the unstated information. Hence we now have John and 24. So that is that on the classes under string. So let's quickly look at object method. Object can contain method. Method in object are function that belongs to the object. Now let's create the class person again, and we are going to create a function under it. So we are going to have this created class person, then want to have another function created which is my func. self purpose. We want the my function to print. We want it to print. Want to print hello. My name is. Then we go ahead concatenating self dot name. And when we instantiate, we have p2 equals person, put the value of the person, color, and spray. So we want to print my func now. So we say p1 dot my func. Now this is how we call a function which is an object, how we call the method of an object. So when we have a function that belongs to an object, this is how we call them. Excuse me. Func. Yeah, that's correct. Def my func self print hello person. Oh, because the first one we created does not have the person. So let me create another one. We have class book and we can use this self. Okay, we have this, 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 we have this. Right, and we have P4 equals to colon 43. We say print P5 and we have our answer. So we have a print P5 dot my func. See that the definition has no, it has object at unknown values. So that is what might happen when you are not defining your strings. The string is supposed to come after my function. So reason why we have that display that way. So what if I create it and I decide not to have a string? Let's quickly try our class shop. Let's create an init. Save name. So this I'm not going to put string, just put my func, def my func, and and we want it to print hello, my name is my name is self dot name. Then we can now say this6 equals to book shop $50. The shop supposed to be in small letter. Alright, the shop supposed to be in small letter. So let me quickly do that in a perfected way. So let's say class shop for shopping. We have the definite set.name, my func, print set.name. Then we say 6 and is going to 4. So P7 for shopping. Okay. Sorry, I'm still using shop instead of shopping. Okay. Name shopping is not defined. Something is wrong somewhere. Alright. Name shopping is not defined. Shopping was defined as class. So let me clean this because everywhere is rough already. So we have class shopping def init self name page self.name first name self.age equals age f my func self have print hello, my name is self.name. So we want to instantiate and we say pk is equals to shopping. I'll put the name there. Done. Done. Number 3. We say print pk dot my func So we're going to have this. Then when we say p, say dk dot my func. In this case, we are calling the function. It's going to give us the response as hello John. My name is John. All right. So thereafter, we look at how to set self parameters. Now, self parameter is reference to the current instance of the class, and is used to access variables that belongs to the class. Any variable that belongs to the class can be accessed by the self parameters. Excuse me. Can be accessed by the self parameters. It does not have to be named self. Like I said, you can call it whatever you like, but it has to be the first parameter of any function in the class. So, and we've been using it since by giving it self and making it the first thing before other variables. And we can actually change the name to whatever we feel like using. Then many object properties. This is an example of many object properties. This is an example whereby you put your object, you set your object. So like for example, we can say dk, which is our object of shopping, dot age. We want to change the age. Age equals to 90. With this, we have changed this. If we are to look at it, we have our response as 90. So how do you delete property? The same way we delete images, the same way we delete lists and the likes. It's just to type delete. That is if you want to delete properties. Remember, among the properties of a class is the instantiation. Those things that are inside it, that you can use instantiation to get their output. So you say delete p1 dot delete dk dot age. Now that the age in the class have been deleted. Then you can also delete the object instantiation. You can delete, the other one is delete dk dot age, which means we delete one of the members of the class. But now we can delete the instantiation that we use to get the members of the class by saying delete dk. Once you have this, you have delete anything that is dk that we can use to instantiate our value. Then as you know, pass statement is used to pass the class that we are not making use of, like class house. Then you can just put pass, and that is how the code will pass without any stress. So then the next one we're going to look at is inheritance. How did functions are being inherited by the how did functions are being inherited from class. We're going to look at in our next video. Thank you.